and welcome to the Wealthy Teacher Show. And I'm your host, Dr. Victoria Boyd, and as usual, I am so excited to be here and to be your host. You know, here at the Philanthropreneur Foundation, we really believe that wealthy teachers are throughout the entire community. They're everywhere, and it's important that we hear their voice, and that's why the Wealthy Teacher is here, so we can bring on fabulous people to hear their fabulous stories. And one of the most exciting things that I have is I get to meet so many different people with different perspectives, things that they bring to the table, the things that they're doing. I just can't wait to share them with you. Now, today what we're going to have is a millennial. Now, I want to talk about that. And many people have been talking about, oh, they don't do this, they're so into technology. You know, millennials really come with a special heart. That's the way I see it. Now, they fit right into what we call in the marketing segment or the marketing world as the we society. We are in what is called a we cycle. Now, if you want to learn more about that, read the book Pendulum. It's by Roy Williams and Michael Drew. A couple years ago, I had Michael Drew here in Las Vegas. He was one of the keynote speakers at one of my conferences. It was Impact Leadership. It was back in 2015. And I had just read the book Pendulum, and it impacted many of the things that I was doing at the time because all of a sudden my light bulb came on. It was like, that's why all of this is happening. Now it makes sense. Okay, let's think about it. Back in the 1990s, 1990s, you might remember a social media site called MySpace. Oh, you probably don't remember it. If you do remember it, you know it really didn't go anywhere. It came out, people were getting on, some people were talking about it, but then it just sort of went flat. It just flattened out, plateaued, and never went any further. But then all of a sudden, here in 2003, Facebook was introduced, and it exploded. The reason was because we had just shifted into what is called a we cycle. Each cycle, we have we and me, and they're in 40-year pendulums that flow back and forth. In 2003, we shifted into a we cycle. What does a we cycle mean? It means we're about community. It means society cares about talking to each other, community impact, sharing. What does Facebook do? That's the platform Facebook was built on, becoming a community, working together, having a voice, having input. And so Facebook exploded because of the times, not society so much, but the marketing trends. That is a marketing trend. Pendulum really goes into marketing trends, and they go back 3,000 years and can show with consistency every 40 years this pendulum ball flows back and forth. And that's an important concept. When you're thinking about millennials, they're reaching their maturity, their core, when they're able to have impact right in the heart of a we cycle. It's not that they are all about technology, but they understand that technology helps them have greater impact. Most millennials want to give back, and I really like, in case you don't know what a millennial is, okay, it's anyone born from 1980 to 2005. And so they are just, as I say, reaching maturity in that 2003 right now. These are the millennials. And some people call them the Generation Y, but what I really like about it is that it's not so much about their age, it's about their attitude. They believe they need to give back. And I really believe they are some of the most profound wealthy teachers in the community. Now, I wore my special apple today. If you've noticed, apple is a running theme here, you know, because apples are synonymous with teaching and things like that. But ours are golden, they're sparkly, they're enriched, they're pure and gems that we find rarely in the community. Millennials, I'm seeing more and more of them becoming gems in the community because they want to have impact. They want to be involved in nonprofits, in community engagement, helping their fellow man. And so I believe the next generation of millennials, they are our next generation of philanthropreneurs. I'm so excited because today's guest is one of those millennials. It's Gabrielle Amato-Bailey. She'll come on and talk about what she's doing, but you'll hear a fresh perspective from a millennial. We'll see about what she's doing later. In the meantime, remember the Philanthropreneur Foundation remembers teachers are everywhere, and we want to feature them on the Wealthy Teacher Show. But the Philanthropreneur Foundation is also a nonprofit, and we need community support. You can do that by making a straight donation to help us produce these shows, but also if you're a business or an entrepreneur, a provider of services or products, come on the show and be an expert. I'll interview you and make you have this platform to talk about why you are an expert. I'll make you that expert. And just for a small donation, you can have that video, you can have your platform speaking and becoming the expert that you want to be. If you want to get started with that, just reach out to me at drvictoriaboyd@gmail.com or visit my website, drvictoriaboyd.com, or email twtshow@drvictoriaboyd.com. That's all ways to reach the Wealthy Teacher Show. Once again, we're going to be right back with Gabrielle Amato-Bailey, but first we're going to thank our sponsors, Agent with a Heart, real estate agents giving back to community. Softfront CRM, marketing for the last 25 years. Rock's Place HempWorks, changing lives one drop at a time. And our sponsor, Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber of Commerce. We're going to be right back with Gabrielle Amato-Bailey. See you soon. And welcome back to the Wealthy Teacher Show. I'm your host, Dr. Victoria Boyd. And I mentioned before we had a fabulous guest. Her name is Gabrielle Amato-Bailey. Now, I know her mom, and we didn't even know, and I hadn't put it together, but I've known her mom for years. But Gabrielle had impressed me with just her demeanor, how she stood up. I saw her make a presentation, and I was like, I need to talk to her. And I didn't find out till late. I mean, our conversation was almost over when I realized, okay, that's her mom. So welcome to the show.
I'm very flattered to be here. Thank you.
You know, we had talked and talked. I mean, and then at the end of our conversation, all of a sudden, your mom came out. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, duh.
I keep it secret because everybody loves my mom, and I don't want to get her credit up front.
Oh,
you know.
No, you earned my respect. Totally earned my respect. Okay, so you were invited on the show because of who you are. Definitely. I mean, your energy exploded when you made your presentation.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, and I sat there and I literally said, I need to talk to her. You know, that's how I make my connections. But so give us a little bit of your background. I know you went to Sarah Lawrence. And
I did.
Yeah, see, I've done my research.
Which almost no one on this side of the Mississippi has heard about.
Oh, no, I've heard of Sarah Lawrence. Oh, but I'm from Michigan, so I'm on the other side of the Mississippi.
Yes.
So,
Sarah Lawrence College, a very tiny liberal arts college in New York that's known for producing sort of, militant feminists. So obviously I got along there.
Are you a militant feminist?
Well, you know, I hung up my combat boots some years ago. That's a young woman's game, very young. I say that like I didn't just turn 30. Calm down.
I'm like, okay, you are a young woman. Okay.
But I'm already so tired. Too tired for the military.
Okay, I'm just going to little fix this because I'm a feminist.
I'm a mess over
Yeah,
here.
no, I'm
Excuse
just,
me, gang.
you know, and our producer is such a perfectionist.
Yes,
you
of
know,
course.
So we have to keep our cords.
We do. We have to be neat.
But also, I mean, it really ties into because you do writing that helps people really present themselves and put their best foot forward. And so I'm making sure
So we
that
have to be neat.
your best foot is
Best foot forward.
So
It's
tell us
true.
more about how you got out here. I mean, just give us your history.
I actually grew up here in Las Vegas. I went to school at the Las Vegas Academy of the Arts
Okay.
for high school. I was a theater major.
I taught
Explains
dance.
a lot. See, there you go. That's where all the
Connection.
artistic folks are at. That's
Yeah,
where you find us.
Yeah.
And then I went back east to Sarah Lawrence for college, and my focus was in women's studies. And so when I came back here to Las Vegas, I graduated in 2010. There was no work
This is a
anywhere.
baby.
I am really very tiny.
Hey, babe.
But I came back here to Las Vegas in 2010. There was no work to speak
Oh,
of.
yeah, this is a recession.
It was a rough time, but happily I was able to work my way into a career in nonprofit, and I worked at a couple of different places. I finally landed at the Rape Crisis Center in I think the spring of 2013, and I had really the privilege of working there for 2.5 years as the head of their prevention and education department.
Absolutely.
So I really got to put my degree to work. It was a fantastic learning opportunity for me. I grew so much. But then at a certain point, I sort of started to feel burnt out. I realized I wasn't really in the place I needed to be long term.
Unfortunately, nonprofits and with the topic that you were dealing with burned you. I mean,
You got to be a really special type of person. You got to have a particular kind of resiliency to do that work long term, and I did not have it. Full disclosure, didn't have it in me, friends.
we understand the full disclosure part. No, it's with any of those where you're looking at, I want to say, tragedy or hardship on a daily basis. It's hard to maintain that resiliency, to keep that wall between your emotions and your feelings and remain, you know, you almost have to become cold. You know.
It takes a really particular kind of person to be able to set that aside and bounce back.
Yeah.
It's tough. It really takes a particular personality type.
And I don't know if you know, but in the nonprofit sector, development officers, executive directors, the turnover rate or their life expectancy, but their career expectancy in each job has one of the highest turnover rates in all industries.
It's hard
just
work.
because of burnout.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very hard work keeping up with the nonprofit world. So, you know, I kind of hit my burnout point, and then I wasn't really sure what I should do. So I went back to graduate school because I came from a family that emphasized education. And so when you don't know what to do, you go back to class.
Yeah, you learn some more.
Exactly.
Maybe you'll fall into something.
Learn some more, see what you can figure out. And then the truth is, I had a nervous breakdown. I did. I didn't know that I was living with an anxiety disorder at the time. And so that had been going untreated, and I didn't really deal with all the burnout and the feelings that I had from working in nonprofit. And then I got to graduate school, which is a good place to suddenly realize you have no idea what you're doing. It's an excellent spot, you know, you've already given them the check for all that money. And then you're like, I don't know why I'm here or what I'm doing or what my purpose is. So
You gotta find your why.
Yes, and I had not found it, and so I didn't realize until I got there. So I had a very rough couple of months. I was in a bad way. I was not well. We did come back to Las Vegas to be near family and be near our support system. And the reality is that I wasn't well enough to go back to work at a normal job, and I had to figure out something to start making money again. And I sort of realized, I was like, you know, we're living with family. I'm as low as I'm going to be, and I'm not going to be homeless, and I'm not going to starve to death because people are taking care of me. So if I don't pursue my dream to be a writer now, I'm kind of a lazy jerk. I'm kind of a coward. This is the moment.
You don't want to be called a lazy jerk.
No.
Because, you know, I'll call you one, you know.
Please don't.
Okay. So tell us about your writing. Okay, so you involved in the nonprofit world. That also, we did mention your mom, but you're also involved with her. Did you do any writing for her organization, Baby's Bounty?
I've done a little writing for Baby's Bounty. On occasion, I've done things like help them, update their website copy. Last year for the Dinner on the Lawn fundraiser, this year's is coming up shortly.
I saw the promo.
I know, it's already coming out. I helped put together their sort of call to action video. So I've done little projects for my mom here and there, just, when she kind of needed something
And just
from me.
tell us just a little bit about what is Baby's Bounty?
Baby's Bounty is this wonderful organization. My mom founded it 10 years ago now. Can you believe it? 10 years. That provides essential supplies and baby gear to low-income families with a newborn. So it's sort of a replacement for like they used to call it like the layette, right? You would get all your goodies for your new baby. It's sort of like a trousseau for a new baby instead of a bride. But when my mom was working in a nonprofit, she realized how many families here in town aren't able to afford, let's be honest, the very expensive supplies that it takes to care for an infant. And so that's what Baby's Bounty provides.
I'll have to connect you with Luis Cervantes, who has a vision for creating this 4-part support system for moms, whether they're first timers. But I think Baby's Bounty would be a great partnership for what he's trying to invent. So we'll talk about that later.
We should, yes.
We'll talk about that later. We're going to take a real quick break right now and be back because I want to talk about desert mouse.
I can't wait.
We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Wealthy Teacher Show with my guest, Gabrielle Amato-Bailey. I just like saying your name.
I like hearing it.
Oh, okay. Gabrielle Amato-Bailey. Okay. You have a brand new company, which you alluded to before the break, writing, but it's much bigger than that. It really has taken on your personality. I pulled a picture of you. I hope you don't mind.
I don't. I love this photo.
You have on pink bunny ears.
I do.
And you look so alive. It's really a testament to your personality. And that picture to me sucked me in, literally.
I'm glad to hear it.
No, I like people with energy. At home probably I sleep half the time. But out and about, I'm pretty energetic. And like I said, when you stood up and gave your presentation, your personality, your energy just made me say I needed to talk to her. And that picture is the epitome, and we're showing it. We're showing the picture of you in the pink bunny ears. But the name of your company is another phenomenal, the Desert Mouse Media Company. Okay, tell me about Desert Mouse Media.
So when I was growing up, I was like a very small child, and I had a high squeaky voice, so my dad started calling me Mouse. That was my childhood nickname. And when it came time to name my company, I thought about the fact that that was my childhood nickname, and I grew up here in the desert, and I'm doing my work here in the desert, and I just kind of liked the sound of it together.
It's a great name, and it's so representative of who you are.
Yeah.
So give us the whole 911 or 411, not 911, 411 of what Desert Mouse Media can do for a client.
So Desert Mouse Media is the name of my company under which I work as a freelance writer and editor. And I do a variety of different types of work. What most of my clients have asked me to do is web work for them. So that might include writing or giving feedback and editing on their website copy. The email newsletter is very big right now. It's back in a big way.
Why are all these things important? Why do they need this stuff?
This is how people get to know you, your company, your brand. They need to be able to go somewhere to find out about you. And so the beauty of things like a website or a newsletter is that it's something that you can send directly to your clients. We all love social media sites. They're lots of fun. They can be a great way to promote, but you have to make sure you're choosing the right one, and you have to be kind of cognizant of the fact that their algorithms are changing constantly, and you don't always know that your clients are seeing those. So to supplement with a website they can visit.
The power of what you do is you are the next level of information. We use social media for marketing. Okay, that's just a teaser. Because if you're doing social media, you're right. Let's hopefully you're directing them and sending them to a website, which is literally your digital brochure.
Yes.
And the content of that brochure, if it's not spot on and continuous.
Yes.
And we talked about it when, we talked about my newsletter and what it needs to be, and you're going to help me with that. But it's, when you're going to a brochure, they're going to land on whatever page you direct them to. And so in your social media, you might create an opt-in conversation.
Yes.
Or the blogs, as they're set up in many times, are the newsletter. What would be ideal content that, in your estimation, for, okay, just say a multifaceted entrepreneur? That sounds like me.
What might I say? Everybody in marketing is very aware of the fact that, people are not into a hard sell anymore.
Right.
Like, that time has passed.
Right.
People don't want you to try and sell them on a product or try and say, like, this product will solve your problems. What it really is about sort of finding out what you're about. It's sort of more about attracting and about finding your tribe. People will do business with you because you're on the same wavelength. And so for everybody, I really focus on, A, what are you an expert in? And B, what are you about? What's important to you? How do you see the world? And that's where that authentic content comes from, right? And then you don't end up just knocking out these sort of like generic tip blog posts, like, who cares? Like, you can get that anywhere. But it's like, what are you about? Where's your expertise, and
how are you
what
going
is
to build
that?
This relationship?
Exactly. What's our relationship?
That is so important, because I read a lot of different websites and go a lot of different, and you go, stop selling me. I say that, stop selling me. Who are you? Why do you do what you do? And I guess that's what attracted me to your, I'll call it your style, is because you are in your face. This is who I am. Take it, leave it. This is what you get. But I can see where you can say, I can give you that same authenticity. Authenticity is so powerful. And that's one value of this video. This is making you a real person, because they can see your face, they can see how you react, our style, what we do. You have now become a real person, whereas then you take that real person and actually put it into words.
Yeah.
That's a skill. Sort of redundant, but how difficult is that?
You know what? It's like asking a ballet dancer, like, well, how hard is ballet? Well, it's not as hard for her as it is for you. I'm lucky in that was a skill set I sort of had a natural inclination towards. And then it's a skill that I developed over many years. Sarah Lawrence is famous for not doing exams. You have to write a 40-page paper at the end of the year.
Okay.
So, I've had a lot of opportunities to really flex my muscles with that type of communication. And now it comes easily to me. Which I love. But, the fact that it comes easily to me is sometimes what makes it hard to be an entrepreneur in that facet, because, and maybe you've experienced this.
Oh, yeah. We go more to the creative stuff.
You do, well, and it's, it's so easy for me. I feel bad charging for it. I'm like, oh, it wasn't a big deal. But you got to remember.
Did I just have that conversation yesterday?
Yes, yes. And you have to remember, it's not easy for your client to do it, so you have to do it for them.
Right,
And that's where the value of the skill set is.
You've touched on so many different aspects of why, first of all, a person should not attempt to do their own writing unless that is their skill
unless
set.
Unless that's your thing.
Right. What advantages do you give, I'll just say, the everyday entrepreneur that maybe isn't even doing a newsletter? Why should they have a newsletter?
It's possible that not everybody needs a newsletter.
Okay.
My feeling is we got to sit down, we got to get to know your business, your product, your service, what you're about, and then figure out what makes sense for you. So the analogy I always use is a tire shop shouldn't have an Instagram account. That doesn't make sense, right? It just
I might look there for it.
doesn't make sense. So, for me, what I bring is like, yeah, sure, you could send me a couple of bullet points and ask me to just whip up one blog post for you, and I'm happy to do that. But what I prefer to do is sit down and take time and get to know, who are you, what do you want, how do you want to communicate with your audience, and then let's come up with a really coherent, cohesive content plan.
So you're actually dealing with branding.
To an extent, yeah.
Yeah,
To an
because
extent, yeah.
the message that you put out to the world about whether it's you as a consultant, your business, your products, your services, is so integrated into your brand that you play an integral role in building brand.
Yeah, it's a voice. It's the voice of a brand.
If you get a chance, look at the previous show that we did with Lewis and think about, because he wants to have a contest of naming this umbrella of services he wants to provide for new moms or second time moms in need. And previous I was saying what brand, what how do you want them to feel? And so good writing, you have a feel. When I went to your website, it immediately gave me a certain energy. I don't know if you even know that.
That's good to hear. It's nice to get that feedback and know it's working.
Well, because it's just the style. You wrote your content to match your style. Because your blurb, your little abstract next to your bunny ears, how could you have something really serious in a abstract of who you are next to bunny ears?
It just wouldn't work.
No. And so it matched, it gave the essential information, what it does. Okay, if you want to read it, here, you need to go to www.desertmousemedia.com.
Please
and
do.
you can see the bunny ears as many times as you want. But you can also read some of her own verbiage explaining, and that will give them a good idea how that you can make magic. Let's make magic.
Let's make a little magic.
With the words, with the words. So if you had to give takeaways or tips to existing or aspiring entrepreneurs of what they need most from you, this is your plug. What tips would you give them?
I would say in general, you got into the work that you do because you have a passion for it, right? But if you're not a writer, maybe it's hard for you to put that passion into words. That's where I come in.
Absolutely.
I will help you translate your passion for your work and what you do into words so that you can communicate it to your audience.
That sums it up. Take your passion, your why, and communicate it so that people will be attracted to you and want your products and services. This is Gabrielle Amato-Bailey.
Thank you.
She's the owner and operator of Desert Mouse Media, and excellent writer, because I've read some of your stuff. I mean, I purged. I mean, when I went deep into your website, I'm not a stalker.
No, not at all. That's why it's there.
I'm not a stalker. Just know that I'm not a stalker. I did steal pictures. But no, you have a gift for words, and I'm just glad that you came on today. I'm looking forward to see what we can do in the future. Reach out to Gabrielle. What's your email?
You can reach me, Gabrielle, at desertmousemedia.com. You can also go to my website now and sign up for my newsletter, which will be launching shortly. Oh my goodness, can you imagine?
The writer actually has a newsletter.
I figured I better have one for myself if I'm doing one for everybody else, right?
Can they find you on social media?
Not yet, but all of Desert Mouse Media's social media will be launching in October. It's going to be a big, big event, so stay tuned. Sign up for that newsletter so you don't miss it.
Oh, yeah. So we're here hearing the launch of Desert Mouse.
This is the exclusive announcement right here that it's going to come.
Okay. I'm so excited. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor to be here today.
It's been so much fun. We just have fun anyway.
We do.
Okay. We're going to be right back. Five top benefits of HempWorks CBD. Number 5, reduces stress and anxiety. Number 4, supports heart health. Number 3,
protects immune system. Number 2, anti-inflammation. And number 1, pain relief. 10 reasons you need HempWorks as your source for CBD. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It works.
That was a great show, and as we wrap up, I'm going to keep this short because my producer said I was talking too much. Anyway, thank you to Agent with Heart Real Estate Agents in the Community, Softfront CRM for the last 25 years, Rock's Place, HempWorks, Changing Lives One Drop at a Time, and the Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber of Commerce. Please join us on YouTube, Facebook, all the social media platforms, and we will see you next time. Thanks for joining us.